Oh, sorry, I forgot we were already rolling, so I need to like think of ways to respond every time we talk.
Yeah, you can
all
just
right.
you just respond like a human being. I mean,
Well, it's just I was distracted thinking about something else, and then I went, "Oh yeah, that's right. Since we're already recording, I need to think of actually something
Sure.
to say."
Well, what were you thinking about?
I was thinking about the games and movies I've been playing the last couple of days.
What have you been playing and watching?
Well, I just recently started playing Shadow of Mordor again.
Oh, that's right.
Well, I haven't had a whole lot of time to do it because I've been watching so many movies.
Sure.
But Sunday, as we're recording this, and
Uh-huh.
Sunday is the beginning of the calendar week in the US. So
Right.
last week, all of last week was Ghosts/Possessions week on my daily
shit.
movie calendar.
So you just watched Ghost,
And
Let's see, Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, and then Ghostbusters remake. The first, the Paul Feig directed one.
I did not watch any of those last week. No.
Okay, those are all the ghost movies I know. Oh, Casper,
Well,
Casper the Friendly Ghost. Did you watch that?
I did not watch Casper either. No.
Oh man.
But I was watching, like I said, either ghost or possession movies because like they're kind of in a similar ballpark,
Sure.
So I just kind of lumped them together in the same week. And well, last night specifically, I watched Lights Out, but that wasn't specifically the movie I was thinking of because, bro, I watched The Ring again, and man, what a good fucking movie.
Still
dog.
holds up, huh?
Still absolutely holds up 20 years later. Still hits just as hard as it did when it came out. It rules. I love it. A+. Anyone that either has or hasn't seen The Ring, go back and watch it again. Good stuff.
So I know I've seen The Ring, and I know I've seen Ringu, right? The Japanese original.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I've seen any other Ring movie at all.
Well,
I don't think
to be
I don't know
fair,
if I saw like The Ring 2, or was it Rings that came out?
Rings was the third one, yes. And
Yeah.
to be fair, I haven't even seen Ringu,
Okay.
and so The Ring with Naomi Watts is the only Ring movie I've seen.
Gotcha.
So
I know they did a Ju-on, The Grudge, and Ringu. They did a versus, like a Freddy versus Jason style,
That's fun.
where they pit the creepy girls from Ringu and Ju-on against each other or something.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That would be very entertaining to watch. I mean, I've never seen any of the Grudge movies,
Sure.
so I would have absolutely no idea what was going on, but that is very funny to me.
What was crazy is the tagline was still "Whoever wins, we lose," just like Alien versus Predator.
Well, I mean, let's be real. That is a phenomenal tagline.
It is, yeah. Taken in a meta context, also a statement about the Alien versus Predator movie we got for some people.
Oh, and also tying back into our, I don't know if it was necessarily our immediately previous conversation,
Right.
but I received a couple of video games in the mail that I ordered a
Nice.
few days ago, and one of them is Chronicles of Riddick,
Hell yeah.
the Assault on Dark Athena.
Nice. Yeah, and that came with the first Escape from Butcher Bay as a part of that, right?
Yeah, it is. That's why I bought that one as opposed to buying both of them, because they were like, it comes with the first one. And I was like, good, because I don't have either of them.
Hell yeah. I played Butcher Bay back in the day on original Xbox. Good game.
I have been told they're both very good, but the first one is better.
Better than the Riddick movies. I think that first Chronicles of Riddick game was like, I remember people being like, this is like better than it has a right to be, which I think is a little bit of a harsh judgment on the Riddick movies, because those are fun movies.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've only seen the first one, but I liked it. So
real quick, you talked about Shadows of Mordor, or whatever that game's called, right?
Yep.
Is the Ring part of Lord of the Rings? Just
sorry, I got distracted by thinking of a way to be able to bullshit canonify them together. Right. Let's see. Possibly
one Ringu to rule them all.
That's right. I love it. The Ringus of power.
I got a gaming question for you.
All right.
You're a big fan of the Yakuza games.
I am, yes.
Okay, I have two questions. First, have you played Judgment? I know that's not a Yakuza game, but it's like the same studio right?
I own both Judgment games, but I have only played the first one. I have not played
Okay.
the second one.
How do you feel about it?
I like it because it's like, they released Judgment around the same time that Yakuza 7 came out.
Okay.
And so Judgment uses the combat style from Yakuza 0 through 6.
Nice.
Because Yakuza 7 became a turn-based RPG, and so they're like, the Judgment games are the ones we're gonna keep on using that combat style,
Okay.
or that combat mechanics. The problem is that I absolutely loved Yakuza 7 so much
Right.
that when I go back and play Judgment, I'm like, honestly, I'd rather it be a turn-based RPG.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But yeah, Judgment is good. I like it. I think it's fun. I don't think the characters are quite as compelling, and the whole series is famous for like a whole bunch of little tiny like side bullshit stuff
Right.
that you can do, and the stuff you can do in Judgment I don't think is quite as interesting or compelling as
Okay.
the stuff you can do in Yakuza. But Judgment's a good game. I do enjoy it.
Gotcha. Because I just impulse bought it, and it'll be delivered tomorrow from the evil website.
I hear you. That's how it goes,
So my next follow-up question, I've been playing Persona 5 Royal now that it's hit Game Pass, like 10 hours in or something like that.
All right.
I love the Persona games, and one of the things I loved about the Persona games is all of the stuff you do in between, like dungeons, right?
Mm-hmm.
All that little bullshit you do. And I remember when I first played Persona 4, which was the first Persona game I really dove into, it was giving me Shenmue flashbacks, not in terms of like gameplay style, but that game in particular with kind of like the rural setting and just all of the in-town stuff you can do.
Yeah.
And then I was like, man, I love Shenmue. I haven't played 3 because they haven't put that on Xbox.
I have played 3.
Don't tell me. I don't want to know anything about it. I'm going to buy a copy just to have a copy.
Well, all I was going to say is that I am a big Shenmue guy from the first 2 games. I bought 3 and then started playing it, and I was like, honestly, man, I really liked them back in the day, but like now they just kind of feel like trial runs of what Yakuza is like now, and so I wasn't really able to get 3 to click for me, and I never finished it.
All right, that's fair, but that brings me back around because a bunch of the Yakuza games are on Game Pass, like 0, Kiwami, 3, 4, 5, and 6, I think, are all on Game Pass.
All right.
And I just missed Yakuza games back in the day. Like, I know they started putting them out on PlayStation 2. I don't know why. I think it was just a time in my life where I was way too broke and couldn't afford video games.
Fair.
Which, I mean, is still a problem as an adult, but thank God for Game Pass.
Yeah.
So I think I've played a little bit of 0 or Kiwami when it was on Game Pass like a year ago or more. I'm not exactly sure which one. And whichever one it was, it got uninstalled, and I have no memory of which one it was. So my question to you is, out of those choices, which one should I play?
Out of your choices of all of the ones that are on Game Pass, or of 0 and Kiwami?
0, Kiwami, and then I think 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Okay. So it's interesting that they don't have 2,
right.
But I'm going
to double check the list, but go ahead. While you're doing that, I'm just going to pull up the list.
Pretty much everyone thinks 0 is the best game in the series.
Okay.
And because like they made 1 through 5, and then after they made 5, they made I don't remember exactly what order it is, but like they made 0, the remakes of 1 and 2, and 6, all of those at right around the same time. I don't remember exactly what order it was.
Right.
I think they did the remake of 1, 0, the remake of 2, and then 6. Well, the remakes being Kiwami 1 and 2.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it was Kiwami 1, 0, Kiwami 2, 6, I think, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
But everyone pretty much thinks that 0 is the best game in the series. Like me, I think 7 is probably personally my favorite one.
Right.
But 0 is very good, and it's also like, as the subtitle 0 implies, it is chronologically the first game in the series.
Sure.
So I say you may as well just start with 0. It is the first one.
Okay.
Although, when you start playing Zero, after you finish it and move on to the other games, you'll probably find them not quite as good as Zero.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay. All right, I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Kiwami 2 is also on Game Pass.
all right.
And so is Yakuza Like a Dragon. Is
That's 7.
Okay, that's 7. That's the turn-based
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, Yakuza Like a Dragon is also Yakuza 7, because the reason they called it that is because they just announced that they're I don't know, maybe a month ago, that they're working on a Yakuza 8.
Gotcha.
And they're working on a remake of a Japanese only released spin-off game where you were like a samurai.
Nice.
Called Yakuza Ishin, but that's being released in the US under the name Like a Dragon Ishin, because they're changing the name of the series to Like a Dragon, starting with the Western release of Ishin.
Well,
That's why 7 is called Yakuza Like a Dragon rather than Yakuza 7.
it's a transition title. Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, Like a Dragon is Yakuza 7.
So if I understand you correctly, Kiwami 1 and 2 are remakes of the original 1 and 2, right?
That is correct.
So
yes.
so the whole series is on Game Pass, basically.
Whereas 3, 4, and 5 didn't get remakes, they got remasters, because
Right.
3, 4, and 5 were all released on the PS3.
Okay.
So yeah, they got remasters rather than remakes. So you've got 0, Kiwami 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, Like a Dragon. That's all of them. So yes.
Okay, so you're saying just play 0. If I'm going to pick one to play 0.
Yeah, you may as well just start at the beginning and then play through all of them just in numerical order, because that is also chronological order.
Okay.
They take place in the order they were released, other than 0, of course.
Gotcha. Just got to figure out how to squeeze all these very long games in between fire team sessions.
Yeah, that's kind of the same problem I'm having. Like, a lot of people, now that they're on Game Pass, a lot of people I know have been starting to play Yakuza again. And I was like, man, there's already like I still haven't even barely started playing the new Horizon Forbidden West. I still have barely even started playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and that game came out like a year and a half ago or something like that. I have so many other games I'm still in the middle of playing, but like everyone's been playing Yakuza lately, and it's making me want to play it again so bad. And I'm like, I don't have time. All the other games I'm in the middle of playing are also huge.
Yeah, man. It's tough. And it's especially tough with Game Pass, where they're all right there.
They're all right there.
I got to stick to my Persona 5 playthrough, though. I got to get that done before I jump into anything else.
As of this recording, they ported Persona 5 Royal over to PS5, and I bought that shit day one, baby. So now I also have to play Persona 5 again.
I'm holding off on the purchase. I'm going to enjoy the benefits of Game Pass for now. Although when P4 drops at the beginning of the year, I will absolutely be purchasing a physical copy of that, though.
Yeah, they're releasing 3 and 4 on the same day. It's like January 19th or 23rd or something like that. But yeah, both of them are coming out on the same day. So,
but it's P3 portable, which is the version of P3 that I played first. It is very good still, but it's just weird that they're doing portable versus like FES or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what their reasoning was behind that, but I'm sure there was one. So
probably just an easier port.
Yeah, probably.
And maybe it's just, I don't know if they're going to include them, like it's going to be like a double pack or something, maybe.
That's certainly possible. I'm not sure, honestly.
I guess the one thing I'm hoping is that since they're dropping it on consoles that are much more powerful than the PSP was, that they'll put the animated cinematics back in. I'd be totally down for a P3 portable port. That's a lot of P's. We're popping like crazy. If they added in the animation cutscenes again from the console version, but hey, I'm not in charge.
Yeah, I've played something like 20 minutes of Persona 3, so I don't really have much of an opinion on what this release is going to be like. I'm just going to be glad to have the chance to finally play it.
It's good. It's really good. I think my opinion that 4 is better is a little controversial.
Yeah, probably.
4 is just incredible, though. 4 is an amazing game. one of my all-time favorites for sure. Anyway,
we're not here to talk about that. So.
No, this isn't a Persona podcast, again, with all the P's.
Yeah.
This is an Alien podcast. This is Crew Expendable. I'm Hallstrom.
And I'm Rohrbacher.
And we don't have designations yet because we are talking about Alien Icarus issue number 2, but whoa, neither of us have read it.
Dun dun dun.
We don't even have a metaphor for what this show is. We're just a couple of dudes on the USCSS podcast, of course, flying around in space, reading alien comics.
That's right.
Yeah.
Love it. Flawless.
Sure. So we're going to attempt something with this. Obviously, we've covered Marvel's Alien Icarus issue number 1 already. And when we did that, Kenny, you read the issue, but I hadn't. So I was reading it live during the recording. We thought maybe we should just read the comic book live for this recording and do like a commentary. Like a read-along commentary for a comic book, much like one would do for, say, a TV show like Mortal Kombat Conquest.
Whoa, what are the chances? Weird choice for you to pick.
Just the first thing that popped in my mind.
Of course it is. That's because you're always thinking
the
about
greatest television show of all time.
But yeah, basically, though, when we did our Icarus number 1 episode, we thought it was so entertaining that Neal had not read the issue that we're like, maybe we could figure out a way so that neither of us had read it when we sit down to actually record it. So that's what we're experimenting with right now.
Yeah, we got to do a little bit of a recap of issue 1, though. I'm just going to go by the title, the title page in this. And I'm just going to read that paragraph to catch people up. And I'm going to quiz you on the names of our synthetic team because I don't remember them.
All right.
So I hope you got a note or something.
Let's figure it out.
All right. This story is taking place in the year 2217. The planet Tobler 9, a Weyland-Yutani world, was overrun by the organism due to an ongoing war between Weyland-Yutani and the United Systems. The planet Perseus 9, a farming colony crucial to the survival of human life, has just experienced an extinction-level disaster. The United Systems has commissioned the Steel Team, the legendary unkillable synthetic special operations team, to procure a modified ovomorph egg on the radioactive Tobler 9 that has the genetic material with the potential to save humanity. It's a heist. This is a heist comic, right?
It sure is.
The first issue set up a heist for this team of synthetics, of badass military synthetics who were like living in peace on another planet, right? Got attacked by United Systems soldiers and subsequently recruited by them to go to this planet to get this ovomorph egg so that the United Systems can synthesize a cure for the radiation poisoning that's happening on, not Toblerone, on the other planet, right? On Perseus 9. So they're going to Tobler 9 to recover a specimen to help the people on Perseus 9.
I believe the planet that has the radiation problems is Demeter 2.
Demeter 2. Interesting.
Yeah. I believe that is the name of the farming planet, according to my notes from Icarus issue 1.
So what is Perseus 9 then? Is this like a weird spelling error or retcon?
I don't know. I don't remember Perseus 9 being mentioned.
It's
so
right.
I'm not
I didn't
sure.
see. I didn't either, and that's too many 9s. But it's right here on the title page. Maybe we'll figure it out as we read. Right?
Yeah, maybe.
So anyway,
it's certainly a possibility.
Do you remember the names of our synthetic steel team?
Okay, I remember. I'm pretty sure one of them is named Eli.
Eli. Okay.
I cannot remember the names. I think one of them has a name that starts with an A. Like, I don't remember. I'm not willing to sit here and try and think about it too long because I don't want to create gaps of me not saying anything while we're recording.
Well, we can chop those out pretty easily.
Yeah, I remember there's an Eli. I remember there's, I believe, like the main one, like the gal with the long black hair that's kind of like our viewpoint character.
Yeah.
I think her name was Freya, I think.
Freya does sound correct to me.
I do not remember the names of any of the rest of them.
See if I can grab these real quick here. We've got Nora, Seth, Eli, Astrid, and Freya, I believe, is the leader.
Astrid, that was the one I was thinking of that I couldn't remember. Yes, there we go.
That's the Steel team. All right.
2 out of 5 could have been better.
So they have been pulled out of retirement for one last job, right?
You know it.
Let's kick this off and just see how this fucking goes. And if this goes poorly, you got 16 quality minutes of us talking about The Ring and the Yakuza series. Yeah,
that's right.
All right. So right away,
we're back on Tobler 9. All right.
Yeah, it looks like their ship's coming into orbit here. I'm guessing this is the Steel team. Tobler 9 briefly considered the jewel in Wayland Yutani's crown. That's the town the city that we saw at the beginning with all the atmosphere processors and the xenomorphs spraying blood everywhere.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Another irradiated wasteland they've left behind. Okay. Oh, that's right. General Thunderbolt Ross is in this.
Yeah, there he is.
But that's not his name. It's not actually Thunderbolt Ross. It just looks exactly like him.
His name is George March.
Much less cool.
I didn't remember that. I just saw it in my notes from the previous issue just now.
And he's instructing the Steel team that they got to go to an underground industrial complex.
Yeah, he hands them a homing beacon.
Mm-hmm.
They're only allowed to activate it after they get the egg.
Right. If your shuttle's out of reach or inoperable, activate this and we'll come to you. So it's like we're not coming to get you unless you have the egg, basically. Otherwise, they do have a ship that will autopilot them back there.
All right.
So this guy's George Thunderbolt Ross isn't exactly psyched about this mission. He thinks that this is a real long shot, and he's hoping they go down there and they don't find anything, any of the organisms. They just find bones, he says. But what does he got to worry about? Like, this is a badass synthetic team. There's no way it's going to go poorly, right? They're just going to stroll right in and out with the egg because xenomorphs don't attack synths.
And he even tells them, speaking of which, not to engage with, quote, the organism unless they absolutely need to. So
right. So they're just predicting they're going to get down there and it's just going to be crawling, right? Just absolutely crawling with Xenos.
Let's see. They dropped a whole shitload of nukes. That's fun.
Yeah.
Like in the history of the planet, that's why like weather is so rough and everything.
Okay.
Let's see.
Prepare for some chop, right? Do they say that? I bet they say that in this. I bet the pilot says they're in the pipe 5x5. General March knows what we're capable of better than anyone. I like that they have this history with this guy, and his tactic to recruit them was still to attack them and sacrifice some of his soldiers to get their attention.
And then when they land on the ship, the 5 of them with their guns and in their armor make sure to strike a heroic-looking pose to look cool before they set off.
This team does look cool. And important information, you can definitely put these weapon colors on your weapons in Fireteam Elite, which I have done to my halberd and my whatever my hand cannon is. The blue, the white with like the blue accents. Like, these are straight out of the fucking game. Look, she's even got, I don't know which one it is, but the one in the center there with the red hair. She's even got your chain gun, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good weapon. That's why I use it. Yeah, so let's see. They're wandering around through the ruins of the place.
Yeah.
Having a little conversation about how cool that is. And then they find a collapsed transit tunnel that will lead them to the industrial complex that's where they need to go.
I just want to really compliment the draftsmanship of the artist here, of Julius Ota. Like, these environments, like these ruins, the ruined city looks really, really great.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's very cool.
And I think his synthetic designs his character designs are also very strong. I know last issue you had some issues with how the detail on the Xenos. I'm hoping we get a little bit clearer shots of them in this. Maybe he can win you over
it'd be nice.
with that.
It would be nice.
Yeah. So they're just
let's see.
sprinting in. They're like parkouring over these ruins because, again, they're synths. They can do that.
Astrid, by the way, is the one with the red hair, and she's just kind of going on about the architectural history of the buildings that they're looking at.
Yeah. A synthetic after my own heart. So they're synths. Why aren't they all just carrying heavy weapons? Like, it's not like there's a weight limit that they have to consider.
Who knows?
Astrid's just being Astrid. She sees everything from the outside like a time traveler or something.
So yeah, like I said, they're just talking about the ruins. They're talking about how weird Astrid is.
Yeah, so far Astrid's my favorite though. Who's your favorite?
It might actually be Astrid. I'm not sure, honestly.
Is that just because she's the only one who's gotten any development so far?
Well, I mean, that and the fact that, as you pointed out, she uses the same weapon that I use in Fire Team, which doesn't hurt.
Right. What's the deal with Nora?
I don't know.
This guy says they make mistakes and sometimes their lives go wasted, but they build such amazing things like Nora. Is this a synth hitting on another synth?
I don't know. Maybe she was the one that in issue 1 was like painting on that big mushroom or leaf or whatever, and maybe she's like a creative type that like builds and creates stuff. Maybe, so I don't know.
He's comparing her creativity to the creativity of humanity.
I mean, that's literally me just inventing something. I have no idea if that's true or not.
I thought he was hitting on her like a synthetic would be like, you were programmed and constructed beautifully. These synths seem to have, like, I don't want to talk shit about Asher Bishop, but these synths seem to have a lot more sentience and sapience than the other synths that we've seen, with the exception of maybe David.
They also seem to be a lot more personable and like, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of, but it seems like it's a lot easier for them to like communicate and associate with others. Right. Of course, in this situation, they're also talking to other synths, which might make a difference.
Sure. They seem more, dare I say, human. Right. Yeah. It's kind of like maybe these are the synths like Call is in Alien Resurrection. Synthetics built by other synthetics kind of thing, to be like superhuman, almost like replicants.
And then anyway, they get most of the way through the ruins, and then they actually get to the complex, and then they switch over to internal network comms.
This is cool.
So they effectively have telepathy, pretty much. That's fun.
That's pretty rad. This is cool synth stuff that they can just now communicate in their head. Interesting they didn't just choose to do that from the beginning, but maybe they like conversation.
Who knows?
So they are entering the complex, and again, my compliments to the artist. The colors on this panel as they're entering, actually all the colors in this book are great, but
there's a skull over here, a skeleton hand over here, a discarded hat,
but these like
a neon arrow,
the neon arrow and the teal and stuff. I'm just really feeling this is a good looking book.
There is a reference to the second storyline of volume 1 of this comic entitled Revival.
Yeah, which I have read in its entirety by now.
Oh, you did finally finish it?
From the Eurydice cleanup. Yeah, it was pretty good. I think we should, at some point in the near future, talk about those first 2 Marvel runs.
You got it.
Yeah.
Nothing organic ever tangled with us and walked away. I'm assuming that's some kind of ironic call forward to later events in the comic.
Yeah, let's see if that changes.
All right, there's stuff hanging out in the... Oh no, that's them. Sorry.
Yeah, they're rappelling down like an elevator shaft. A more classic infiltration heist hijinks, right?
And they land right outside where the vault with the egg in it is.
I want this armor in Fire Team. I'm just going to say that if they put this armor out as a pack,
it's pretty cool looking. Yeah. I like it.
I mean, they have like white or gray armor over like blue bodysuits, kind of.
All right, let's see.
So they're already at the vault, or where they think the egg is.
There is a cremation failsafe, and then they'll need to free the egg from a liquid nitrogen filtration system.
Let's not forget that Eli, I believe, just said, I thought this job was supposed to be a hard one. Famous last words, dude. Don't say that until you're out. Haven't you seen a heist movie? Haven't you seen Ocean's 11 or 12 or 13 or 8?
Or 13 or 8, yeah.
Or the original 11 or the Italian Job or Fast
and then
5. I'll stop.
And then after they open up the vault, they are surprised to discover that there is nothing in it. The thing they showed up to grab is already gone.
But we saw it in the last panel of the last issue. How could it be gone already?
Dun, dun.
There must have been another door in, right?
Yeah, there's actually some kind of hatch on the back wall open in this panel. So
yeah,
I guess somebody snuck in through the back way.
And Eli, again, I believe, is saying, what mission's done? Let's go. She's like, it's not done.
They start to look around to find anything to use, and they look around and find a whole bunch of pathogen jars, baby.
I did not see that coming. They didn't tease any of that in issue 1.
Let's see.
Let's just remind people real quick, why the synths are doing this job. It's to earn citizenship, right?
That is correct, yes.
So that's why Freya here is like, this job's supposed to secure a future for every living synthetic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like that's why they're doing this mission, because they're tired of being treated like toasters. You know? Or I think on one episode I equated synthetics to vacuum cleaners, which is kind of
you did, yes.
Right.
They find a whole bunch of little miniature terrariums filled with insects, and each one of them is labeled with a Latin name of a species of earth insect.
Oh, shit.
But the actual insects inside the terrariums are not the species that are listed on the front of it.
We're dealing with I bet we're dealing with pathogen mutated insects again. Kind of like all the pathogen mutated nature in Fire and Stone.
As I believe this is Nora even points out, didn't we figure out that nothing organic could survive the radiation here?
Shit.
So how are these bugs still alive?
I'm just going to say, this is tying into stuff we see in Fire Team and also in Infiltrator. These radiation experiments and pathogen experiments on creatures and xenomorphs and stuff, where they're just like, let's put pathogen on this thing. Now let's irradiate it. Now let's irradiate the pathogen and then put it on this thing. Now let's just irradiate it and then expose it to pathogen. Just like every mix and match way you can mess with these creatures. So I'm wondering if this is how those experiments started.
They run off down a tunnel because they hear some kind of a rhythmic tapping sound that indicates to them something is still alive. Of course, assume it's humans, but...
It's the tapping that Astrid, when she was tapping on the flies, the thing with the flies, something's mimicking her tapping rhythm.
And as you may imagine, it is in fact not a human. They go down into a big tunnel, and it turns out there is a big xenomorph nest down here.
Holy shit, they are in a big giant nest.
They have a couple of open ovomorphs over here. You can see a bunch of skeletons still stuck inside the wall over here.
God damn. Nora's like, time to go, Freya. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, and then they turn around to leave, and they get attacked by an entire horde of
Holy
xenomorphs.
Shit. Every direction.
Yeah.
We've been there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So throw out the sentry guns.
It was a trap? Yeah, sounds like it. Oh, Eli even pulls look at them. They're just animals, just like from Aliens.
He's a real Hudson, this guy.
Oh, this dude just cut a fucking xenomorph's head off with a sword. That's
Holy
pretty
shit.
sweet.
That fucking rules. I never thought I'd see that in an Alien comic. This is badass.
Yeah, he pulls out a blade with some kind of light up, it pulls out a sword with some kind of light up blade edge and just slices its face off. That's sweet.
You know where you've seen this before? Mortal Kombat 10. I want to say it's Scorpion's fatality. He pulls someone in with the chain and then slices horizontally down their face, like in the end of Equilibrium. And you can do that to the xenomorph.
I believe that I think Jason Voorhees also has a fatality that does that as well. I think
slices the face horizontally off.
Yeah, I think so.
They probably smell human on us. Holy shit.
That's a pretty good excuse, I gotta say. If you're going to come up with a one-line hand wave explanation, I've heard worse,
Yeah, but this is for real. The xenomorphs just attack. It's not like they're answering the guns. They'll attack something that attacks them first, but the xenomorphs are just attacking first in this.
All right, and then Seth totally gets owned by getting a huge tail through the chest. That's fun.
He gets the bishop treatment.
And then the xenomorph that speared him runs off with him still flailing around on the spear while they're firing at the xenomorph as it runs away.
Yeah, but look at the xenomorph. Is that a Praetorian? Its head looks weird. Like
it does have some kind of big, weird crest head, yes.
Also, Seth and Nora, like, calling out for each other. They were clearly involved, these two synths. I like that, honestly. That's kind of cool.
They go running after him, and then they get attacked by some more Xenos.
Nora's dual-wielding blades here.
And Nora slices a xenomorph into multiple pieces with her pair of swords. That's pretty sweet.
This fucking rules, dude. I'm so into this comic book.
Eli gets mad when he gets covered in a whole bunch of xenomorph blood, but otherwise doesn't seem to care. Oh, shit. He just grabbed a xenomorph's head and ripped it off with his bare hands. That's badass.
That is definitely a Praetorian, too. He just ripped the Praetorian's head off.
That rules. With his bare hand. He grabbed it by the face and went, yoink.
The acid blood spraying out of this head too should be they're going to be a tunnel to the center of this planet at the end of that.
Like I should point out for the listeners, the crew out there, first off, you can see the various pieces of its spinal column coming out with it.
Yes.
But also while he's holding the head, since it has like a big Praetorian crest on it, counting in the crest, the head that he just ripped off of this guy is the same size as he is. It is as big as him, and he still ripped it off with his bare hands.
I've got a little bit of an issue, as I always do, with how much acid blood has gone everywhere, and we're seeing very little damage on them. He's got like a little burn mark on his chest armor.
Oh, also, I should point out to the listeners that this big Praetorian they just killed, that is the one that was running around with Seth stuck to its tail, because Nora cuts off the tip of the tail, and they pick Seth up and escape with him. Well, attempt to escape with him.
Yeah, he's all right for now. He's got a xenomorph tail stuck through his belly, but, you know, he's doing fine.
Nora even says, "You doing all right?" And he literally goes, "Yeah, no worries," while pulling the tail point out of his chest.
If you want that to be true, you better get your ass up.
And then they turn around and there's a whole other horde of Xenos charging at them.
It's too many Xenos.
Yeah.
I do want to say I see what you're saying. The Praetorian, I think it looks pretty good, but it is lacking a little bit in some detail that we're kind of used to seeing for Xenomorph drawings.
It's like, I mean, it's to be expected considering this is a different art style, but the other art style lent itself better to having that extreme level of detail that really makes a Xenomorph pop, you know?
Yeah, I still think they look good in this, but I do see what you were saying, the comparison that you were talking about last time in the last issue. All right.
So let's see. Freya pulls out her big gun and starts shooting at everything.
Yeah, that's the halberd. Hey, that's the rifle I use in Fireteam.
Hey, nice.
It's you and me right here.
Freya
because and Astrid just opening fire.
Freya and Astrid, she has the big halberd and Astrid has the big chain gun. Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
And then they blast a whole bunch of them out. They clear that path just long enough for a whole bunch more to come up, when all of a sudden all of them get lit on fire with a big flamethrower.
Yeah, flamethrower time. Or it's Bo Raicho belching fire at them from a... No, just me? All right.
Unfortunately, wherever it is this fire is coming from, it wasn't any of the synths. So they demand whoever it is to come out. And look at that. You were correct. You called it. There are humans alive on this planet.
Holy shit. I knew there were going to be humans. Was my prediction spot on that they were going to get down here and then there was going to be human survivors? I don't even remember my whole prediction, but like...
I mean, I do remember you were the one that said there'll probably be humans still alive on that planet.
Yeah. I thought that the humans would be the ones stirring up the Xenos, and then the synths, that's how the synths would get involved in the conflict. Yeah, and they call them the humans, or presumably humans, call them gearheads. Holy piss, it's gearheads. Nice language. Way to represent humanity.
And then, they discover 4 humans that are all dressed up sort of like a mix between... well, kind of like Mad Max-ish, sort of.
Mad Max, or like survivors on Tatooine in Star Wars, right? They got like goggles and... respirators and shit.
That's actually an even better comparison because these outfits aren't quite as loud as on is in a Mad Max movie.
Right.
But yeah, they all have masks on and they got like armor covered in cloaks and there's various random body parts covered in bandages.
And their weapons wrapped up like they're just trying to hold them together. Oh, this is rad. Thank Jolly Christ you're here to educate us savages. Jesus.
Yeah.
As I've said, you're the ones who need help surviving. End of the issue. Next, the flight of the Icarus. And we've got a preview here of the issue 3 cover.
The cover, yeah.
Yeah, which is Freya holding what looks like a child.
Yeah, and the child is dressed up like one of the humans are with like the big goggles and the gas mask and stuff. Yeah. And they're standing on top of the corpse of presumably a corpse of a presumably dead xenomorph. Yeah. And Freya's gun is smoking as if she had just fired it.
We got to talk about the cover of this issue. We did kind of skip over it, probably because we didn't know the character names at that point.
Yeah, probably.
It is Eli and Freya staring at jars that look like they have small creature experiments in them. Not jars, but like, like miniature versions of the pod that Clone Ripley was in.
Well, I have... Going back to the conversation we were just having, I have a slightly better comparison.
Yes.
Imagine, listeners, tiny Bacta tanks.
Boom, there it is. Tiny Bacta tanks. With, look like these white little creatures in them, kind of like pathogen modified something or other. Yeah. Like the pathogen chiggers from Fireteam. Sorry, going to talk about Fireteam a lot.
They're these little tiny guys that they have like multiple insectoid legs and they're kind of curved in a similar angle that a xenomorph head is, but they still have like a face on the front. They look kind of a little bit like a beluga whale with legs, you know?
Yes. And then behind them.
And while they're looking at these jars, there's like pathogen dripping out from like the tops of them. And then behind them,
Big old xenomorph, big old drone looking guy.
Yeah, he has the smooth head and the long scorpion tail and all that. Yeah. And yeah, they're examining some pathogen that they got on their hands while the xenomorph comes up behind them.
Again, covers by Bjorn Barends. Very awesome covers on this series.
Yeah, I like them a lot.
Strong second issue too. I am digging this. The action in this was good. This was a pretty action-packed episode, action-packed issue. Yeah. All of it drawn really well, and we're getting a sense of who these characters are. There wasn't any real dialogue in this that was annoying to me. Like I sometimes find when they're trying to like copy and paste successful stuff from other Alien projects. The writing felt pretty original to me. Philip K. Johnson, of course, the writer on this, as he has been on all of the Marvel Alien books, not Aliens Aftermath, and maybe not the first annual, but I think so. Mm-hmm. This so far is my favorite of his Alien comic series. Like 2 issues into this, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling better about this than the previous 2 story arcs.
As of this recording, listeners and Neal, I still have not read the second arc of Volume 1 yet.
Okay.
So I can't say whether I like that or I like this more than that, but I can say I do like these 2 issues. So far, I'm already enjoying this storyline more than I liked Bloodlines.
Okay,
and
definitely.
This one also does the one major problem, or fixes the one major problem that I had with the first issue of this series. When the Xenomorph showed up in the first issue, they were literally only in one panel. Right. And then by the time we were done with that issue and knew where the story was going, I realized that one panel of Xenomorphs honestly was unnecessary and superfluous to the story that the comic was saying. So they could have just not had that panel in there at all.
Sure.
And so therefore this issue solved the one big problem I had with the first issue, is that the first one didn't really have any xenomorphs in it. This one has a lot of them.
It does. Well, we also got that tease at the end of the first issue showing kind of the hive and stuff.
Yeah.
And some of the Xenos like living in the walls like they do, taking a nap in the walls. I'll say that's the one thing I kind of wish this had. Like I get that they were fast forwarding us right to the experiment chamber where the specimen was and teasing these the existence of the pathogen on this planet and these experiments that they're doing. That stuff's all very cool, and I'm very into it. As you know, and I'm sure the listeners know at this point, I am excited at the way alien stuff these days is injecting, from no pun intended, the pathogen stuff into familiar aliens stuff. It doesn't feel separate like it did in Prometheus. It feels like they're really making it a part of modern day, for lack of a better word, alien lore and mythology, right?
Yeah.
And they're not treating it as like an origin for the species like it felt like they were doing. They're treating it as like this other thing that exists that they are now combining with xenomorphs for other experiments. So I like the tease for that. But the one thing I wish we had gotten was a little bit more buildup of them getting into like an alien nest and hive and kind of having the ambush happen that way, as opposed to they just walk into the hive and suddenly they're attacked on all sides.
Yeah.
I could have used a little bit more xenomorph buildup personally.
Since we're talking about minor pacing style gripes, I will say another thing about this issue that I would have preferred if they did another way is right at the very end, like final page, the reveal that there's still living humans. I don't need a completely unnecessary cliffhanger. I'm going to read issue 3. You can just open up issue 3 by them finding out there's living humans. It's fine, you know?
So how would you wanted this to end? Like with them just backed into a corner kind of cliffhanger? And then
well, let's see. Right before that is when that's right, they get attacked, and then all of the the flamethrower hits and all that. Here's the thing. I don't know how I would have preferred it to end, because I didn't plan this out beforehand. Right. It's just while I was reading the comic, I was like, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is the discovery the characters and I guess as readers, our discovery that there's still living humans. It felt like they were only telling us this right now during the very end of issue 2 so that they could give us a cliffhanger to make us go, oh no, what's going to happen next? But like I said, I've already decided I'm going to read issue 3.
Sure.
So you don't need to give me some completely manufactured cliffhanger when I'm just going to find that out in the next issue regardless,
Yeah, I could have seen them backed into a corner, right? Xeno's creeping up on them, and then it ends there with our steel team looking like they're fucked, right?
Yeah, the end of the issue is them firing on the xenomorphs, and the morphs are getting blown away, but still managing to advance because there's so many of them. And then the steel team's well, folks, we're fucked. And then the first panel of issue 3 is the huge jet of flame burning all of them away or whatever. You know?
They could have. Yeah, that would have been cool. I mean, I'm okay with the cliffhanger personally, but it does feel
the other thing that you got to think of as well is that if they did hold off the reveal of living humans until issue 3, that meant they would have had another page or 2 to work with, which means they could have been able to stretch out when they were coming in, so it's not just dropped in so quickly you were mentioning earlier.
The thing I want, and I better make sure they didn't actually do this, the thing I want is I like playing Spot the Xenomorph, right? There's a couple times in Aliens where you can do that when they're getting into the hive and the atmosphere processor, where there's one in the wall behind, who is it? Dietrich, is that the name?
I believe so.
And it does end up waking up and grabbing her, but you don't see it immediately, And I like when they're literally coming out of the goddamn walls, right? I like the idea that they're walking into this hive, and I would have liked to see one or two of them in the wall that they pass by that they don't notice,
Yeah, I'm looking at the big panel where they first walk into the nest.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing any hidden xenomorphs anywhere in the walls or anything.
Right. It's just a thing that I like. And I'm not criticizing the book for not doing that, but if I were making alien comics, I would do that in every single one. It'd be like, where's Waldo? Can you spot the hidden Xeno? Right. Because that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, this is badass. Action heavy. This is the most action heavy that any of these Marvel arcs have been. I'll say that now.
That is correct, yes.
This one issue is the most action heavy that they've all been, I think.
That is also correct.
And I know you and I are a little bit on opposite sides. You like the horror aspect I love the horror aspect, also the singular xenomorph stuff. But I also like a big Xeno shootout action scene. Like, I do like it, and they're giving it to me. The synths are certified badasses using swords to cut up xenomorphs. Are you fucking kidding me? How cool is that?
Yeah, like them pulling out all these big guns and firing on the xenomorphs, honestly, don't do a whole lot for me. But when a couple of characters pull out swords and start
Yes.
slicing them into pieces, that makes me go, oh, hell yes.
Yeah, that's something we really haven't seen, you know? I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sure there's stuff, right? I'm sure there's short stories or other comics or something where that does happen, but
for
that's
sure.
not the norm. And I am more into that idea than I am just the constant space marine weapons that we see all the time, blowing away hordes of aliens like it's nothing. Yeah, this is just a good action scene. I like seeing a Praetorian in there too. You know, I like that they've got some big guns, some xenomorph big guns involved. I like the embracing of, I'm just going to call it the fire team stuff, right?
Yeah,
The
may
different
as well.
weapons and the looks and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
obviously I'm really into that game, so it's fun for me to see them be like, hey, it's just like the game, right? To quote our friends over on Combat Time podcast.
All right, so I'm looking through during this action scene the couple of panels where Nora dual wields the swords and then slices the Xenos into pieces.
Yeah.
And is this a new thing, or did I just never notice before that these xenomorphs are depicted with 6 fingers on each hand?
I don't know. Maybe that's the pathogen mutation right there.
Yeah, because I'm not saying they've definitely never been that way before. I've just never noticed either way. And I'm looking at this hand that's right next to Eli as the two of them are jumping next to each other, and I'm like, this guy has 6 fingers on this hand.
I just typed into Bing, of course I use Bing, everybody, xenomorph jazz hands,
Oh, nice.
to see what our friend an alien did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6.
Okay. So I guess I just never noticed it before right now. Wild.
I never thought about it either. I'm going to paste this into Discord for you to see. Suddenly jazz hands.
Oh yeah. Yep. That is
1, 2, 3,
certainly
4,
okay.
5,
Yeah.
6. Yeah. So that's a xenomorph thing. 6 fingers.
Okay. So, final verdict. Yes or no? What do you think?
Yes, this fucking rules.
Excellent. I agree wholeheartedly. And also, because you have a 100% success rate on it so far, right now we're putting it on wax. What is your prediction for what's going to happen in the next issue?
Shit, I don't feel as good about this prediction, but I do have a theory that somehow these people who are survivors were test subjects of some kind, right? Because we know that they used the ovomorph to create basically like a fix-it-all kind of injection, right?
And that ovomorph that they were gonna, use for that is the thing that they were coming here to steal, and is the thing that is in fact gone.
It's missing. So here's my prediction. My prediction is the thing that's special about this ovomorph is that it has somehow been exposed to or modified somehow by pathogen.
All right.
Because we saw the jars, right?
Yep.
We know there's something different about this ovomorph. So I'm thinking that these survivors are people who were exposed to whatever formula had been created out of that ovomorph that I think was also affected by pathogen in the first place, which is how they're able to survive the radiation, because that's the whole goal of the thing, right?
All right. Yep.
Now, I guess the question is, did they do this after the fact, after everything went crazy? Are these like scientists, or were they test subjects that happened to survive everything? That's the real question, right?
My prediction is similar to yours in that, they've been exposed to this formula that's the reason why the United Systems needs this, and all that stuff. But my guess is that the reason they have been exposed to it is because they are the ones that stole the ovomorph from the vault and created the formula themselves and then used it on themselves.
I'm wondering what the timeline is from the planet going bad to now, right? Do we get a year? I'm going to rewind into issue 1 here.
Yeah, we do, but it was in issue 1, so we'll have to look that up.
I'm going to see if I can find it.
Let's see. The opening scene is 2205.
Okay, and we are
then
now...
the stuff on Tobler 1 or Tobler 9 And then when it cuts to Europa 5, it is 12 years later, 2217.
All right. So do you think that I was going to say, like, if it's been like 50 years, like, I wonder if these are descendants of survivors, right? But these are clearly just people who were there for the original incident.
So I like your idea, guessing that maybe it was scientists. And so maybe this group of humans are the scientists that were like working on the formula based off of the ovomorph. And then they figured out the formula, but then
Right.
everything went to shit before they could do anything about it.
Yeah.
So they just used it on themselves to survive and have been, Newt style, just surviving
Sure.
for 12 years underground.
But they're in extremely close proximity to the Xeno hive, right? So
they sure are.
I'm wondering if the side effect of this shot that they all took, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's like, now we smell like Xenos or something, so they don't fuck with us, right? I wonder if it's something like that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we're not really sure what specifically this thing does. Like in the first issue, they just said that it gives you like a whole wide variety of like health boosters and stuff.
Yeah.
They didn't specify precisely what kind of stuff it does and doesn't do. So maybe one of the things it does is it like masks your scent to xenomorph pheromones or whatever, who knows?
Yeah. Maybe they all have acid blood now.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. We'll see. I guess we'll see in about a month, give or take, right? When we
give or take, yeah, approximately.
Dive into issue 3 of Alien Icarus. As it stands, just to bring us back to the Marvel Universe, I think every arc of the Marvel series has gotten better. I know you haven't read the second arc. I think it was better than the first one.
Well, that's reasonable considering that spoilers for when we eventually cover Bloodlines, I'm not that huge a fan of that arc.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, there's nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, I wasn't that big of a fan of it either. I'll revisit it again, of course, when we decide to do an episode on it. But I do think that the second arc was an improvement over it. A lot of interesting and original stuff in that second arc that I really liked. This one is a little bit more, it's taking less chances than that second arc did, but I like the concept of the synthetic team on a rescue mission, on a heist mission. The Xenomorph action was good. It was fun. It was just fun. Like, I'm not feeling the stakes for the synthetics yet. We've yet to lose one, for starters.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they're pretty resilient.
Yeah.
But now that we've got human players in, I feel like that's going to up the stakes a little bit.
Yeah, and plus, based on the preview we saw for issue 3, there is at least one child involved,
Sure.
so, which means that there's more living humans than simply the 4 we see at the end of the issue.
Unless one of them is just really short and just like didn't make it into that panel. Of course, I guess that could still be a child, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm feeling this. I'm looking forward to the next issue.
So am I.
More than I have any of the other recent, honestly, any of the other recent Alien comics I've read. Like this, this is a treat.
Agreed. Hardest possible agree, yes.
But we should wrap this up, I think, Kenny.
Works for me.
I also think it's going out uncut, honestly.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Hope I didn't say anything that can get me canceled.
We'll see. People are going to be like, he didn't like Bloodlines. Boycott. Boycott Crew Expendable. Oh, we got to pick our designations, though, at the end here.
Oh, shit. That's right. Yeah. We do.
Man.
Dang.
I don't even have. Do you? Ooh, I have one. Okay. I got one. I have half a one.
Okay. Go ahead.
Are you good? Do you have yours?
As long as you don't step on mine. Yes, I have mine.
Okay. We're just going to outro the show. This has been Crew Expendable. I have been Pathogen Jar Handler Hallstrom.
And I have been Gearhead Rohrbacher.
Nice. And we have been just a couple of
come on,
energy swords cutting our way through the Alien franchise.
I'm kissing my fingers like an Italian chef right now.
Just off the dome, just coming up with things off the dome, man.
Love it.
I should teach improv. Kenny, where can people find you on the internet?
I'm on Twitter. My handle is at CYHOBBEZ. For the rest of October, I am putting out a list of all of the movies I am watching, one per day until the end of the month. And beyond that, I normally just hop on every couple of days to talk about what movies I've been watching or what games I've been playing.
And I am on Twitter at Final Neal and Instagram at Final Neal Retro. And hey, if you're playing Fireteam on Xbox and you want to fuck around sometime, add me. I'm Final Neal on Xbox Live. Do you want to give your gamer tag?
My gamer tag is the same as my Twitter handle.
And you're on PlayStation, correct?
I am, yes, that is correct.
Yeah, so let's play some Fireteam. Let's play some Fireteam together, people listening to this show. I'm Prestige rank 30, I think, right now. Maybe a little higher. I don't remember.
I'm not even that close to good, or I'm not even close to that good, I should say. I haven't even beaten the main storyline yet. He's played it way, way more often than I have.
I played it a lot recently, especially. And you can find our show where on the internet, Kenny?
Our website is crewexpendable.net. Our Twitter handle is at crewexpendapod, and our Instagram handle is at crewexpendablepod.
And we are going to be back next week to finally drop our roughly 2.5 hour long Aliens episode, as in the movie Aliens.
Nice.
We recorded with our friend Carissa.
That was great. Had a blast.
Yeah, it was a good time. We're going to follow that up with an episode on the Marvel Comics one-shot Aliens Aftermath, I believe, which is a one-shot comic that takes place, spoiler alert for that one, back on Hadley's Hope after the events of Aliens.
Yep, Aftermath is next, and then after Aftermath, ironically enough, we're continuing on the comics roll with covering Aliens Fire and Stone.
Yeah, we are.
Actually, shit, and after that, we're also doing another comic. We're doing, let's see, it was Aliens, what was the name of the first one? Outbreak, was it?
I believe so. The first Mark Verheiden Aliens run that was originally a sequel to the movie. We are exploring alternate universes that follow the film Aliens after that episode. So,
all you listeners out there, other than the Aliens episode next week, we're going to be talking all comics this month, except for there is a chance we might have one little extra surprise non-comic episode for you later on.
So stay tuned for that. And until then,
Stay frosty.